Hi, I'm Adam Chase, the training officer at Subsea Divers in Greater Manchester, and I'm going to be telling you about respecting the water this summer. I'm going to do that by introducing Jack. It's a really hot day, he's out with his friends and they've decided to cool off in the water. What Jack doesn't realise is that the cold water shock response is triggered in temperatures of around 15 degrees. Now, here in the UK and Ireland, the water temperature average of that is 12 degrees, sometimes in some respects 15 to 18 degrees. So even on a hot day, the temperature of the water is cold enough to trigger the cold water shock response. The effects of it are, people describe it as stealing the air from your lungs, making you feel helpless within seconds. Something you might have experienced if you've decided to have a cold shower or have an ice bath after sports. Why does it happen? Well, cold water shock, what it does is it causes the blood vessels near the skin to close. That's increasing the resistance of the blood flow. Because of that, the heart rate is then increased because the heart's working quicker to try and open those blood vessels. The result of these two things counteracting between the blood vessels closing and the heart rate spiking causes issues with the heart, even in healthy young people. Jack's now 1 minute in. As he entered, he took a deep breath just from the shock of everything. And he's now breathing at 10 times the normal rate. He's hyperventilating. He's breathing out more air than he's breathing in. That's what hyperventilation is. How can you stop hyperventilation? Well, one technique is box breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, then hold for 4. And doing this should help your body to balance the carbon dioxide levels, and it should prevent you from hyperventilating. Jack's now 2 minutes in. He couldn't control his breathing. Also, he inhaled some water when he first got in, and he's starting for some reason to have muscle spasms, and he's beginning to panic. When to act? Well, the common opinion is saying, wait a minute. After that minute, the initial shock should pass. Then you have a time window to get out of the water and to get warm. Float to live. Fight the instincts to thrash about. Lean back, extend your arms, extend your legs. Float to live. Tread the water. If you need to, gently move around if you struggle to float. Float until you can control that breathing, and only then call for help or try to exit the water. Jack's now 5 minutes in. The initial shock has passed, and he can breathe a bit better, but he's still coughing from that water he's inhaled. So he's still hyperventilating a bit, and he's seen some things out there that he can maybe grab hold of and try and exit the water. But for some reason, his muscles and his nerves aren't coordinating properly, and that's the cold water shock response. The blood vessels have closed, and as a result, he's struggling to grip things. Scientists call this the short-term response. It happens roughly 2 minutes to 12 minutes in the cold water. People lose the effective use of the fingers, the arms, the legs, and it becomes difficult to swim. Swim failure will likely occur in these critical minutes, and if people are in the water without a life jacket, drowning is likely. Jack's now 10 minutes in. There hasn't been a response from him for the last 5 minutes. Friends are waiting nearby at the water's edge and are waiting for emergency services, but they're getting worried. He has a friend though called Caleb who's a strong swimmer, and he's thinking of jumping in to get Jack. And this is an issue when it comes to cold water injuries and accidental drownings, that strong swimmers then put themselves at risk. Here are the facts. We can call it the 1-10-1 rule. 1 minute. Let the initial effects pass. Then 10 minutes. Act quickly, exit the water. Then 1 hour. Get yourself warm for at least an hour to prevent hypothermia. Exit and chance of survival. 2 minutes, 50%. 5 minutes of exiting the water, 25%. 10 minutes in cold water, 10% chance of survival. Just a reminder of how to deal with cold water. If you've entered the cold water, take a minute. Let the initial effects of cold water pass. It should pass within a minute or so. Don't try to swim straight away. Relax, float. Try to get hold of your breathing. Try to get hold of something that can help you float. Keep calm. Then call for help or swim to safety if you're able to. People say it could never happen to me. We're an island nation. Swimming's on the curriculum. People learn to swim all the time. People swim on holidays. And that's true. But it's also true that in 2021, 165 people died from accidental drowning. It is the second most cause of death in young people and children. Teenage boys are the highest demographic of likely to drown on a hot day. Research has found that 88% of parents of children who have learnt to swim feel comfortable with those children then playing near water. However, from analysing 83 accidental drownings of 8 to 18-year-olds, 61% of them were described as strong swimmers. Jack lost his life. He drowned from complications caused by that short-term response to the cold water. One of Jack's friends suffered from cold water shock and died by the end of the second minute. Caleb, the strong swimmer who decided to go in the water, was found by emergency services. He had injuries sustained from the cold water shock, but received treatment in hospital. Please, respect the water. Don't let yourself become a statistic.